Today we'll be discussing the physics assignment 3 given to you all. Okay, so this is the paper as you can see. So we'll be starting with the solutions one by one. So the first question that we have is a wave represented by the equation y equals to 7 sine 7 pi t minus 0.04 pi x plus pi by 3, x is in meters and time in seconds. They are asking the speed of the wave. Well, it is a travelling wave and you know what is to be done. You just focus on the coefficient of t and you focus on the coefficient of x. So the wave speed is simply mod of coefficient of t upon coefficient of x. That's it. All are given in SI units only, x in meters and t is in seconds. So what you get when you see the coefficient, it is 7 pi and for x it is 0.04 pi. That's it. So from here you will solve and get the value. I hope it is clear to all of you. Now we see the second question. The kinetic energy of a body decreases by 36%, the decrease in its momentum. Now you can see that the change is not a very small one. So don't go by that concept of finding changes using differentiation, just normal way. Kinetic energy and momentum, how are they related? Momentum we know is under root 2 mke, so directly proportional to root k. And for percentage questions I have been continuously suggesting the best way is what you can write is Pf by Pi is, from here first you will write root Kef by Kei, always take 100 as the reference value. So they are saying kinetic energy decreases by 36%, so take the initial kinetic energy as 100. So the final kinetic energy will become how much? 64. So this one will become 64 by 100, root means how much? 8 by 10. So this means 8 by 10 means how much? 0.8. So that means P final is how much? 0.8 means how much? 80%. So final momentum is 80%. So how much is the decrease? 100 minus 80, that is 20%. Understood? So whenever you have got questions based on percentage, best is to take the initial value as 100. So final momentum by initial momentum is 0.8, means final momentum is 80% of initial. So how much is the decrease? 20%. Clear? Now let's see the third question what we have over here. Okay. The third question, circular ring of mass m and radius r is rotating about its axis with constant angular velocity omega. So if two objects are gently attached to the opposite ends of diameter, the ring will now rotate with an angular velocity. Such questions you have studied earlier also is based on angular momentum conservation. Means we can directly use angular momentum about the axis is what? Constant. Now since there is only rotation, so we can say I initial omega initial equals to I final omega final. Now what you will put in place of I initial? Earlier who was rotating? Only the ring. So ring moment of inertia about its central axis is how much? mr square. What is omega initial given? Ring is rotating at omega. Now finally what is happening? The ring is rotating, but you have also attached two masses m. So their distance from the center will be r only. So moment of inertia due to them will be mr square and mr square, and this final omega they are asking. So that's it, we get the value from here. Okay, so this was for the third question. Let's see the fourth question also quickly. A rock explodes. As soon as you see explodes, collides, keep it in your mind that momentum is to be conserved. So the word explosion and anything simply suggests that momentum of the system, total momentum will remain constant. Now the rock obviously before exploding was not dancing or crying, it was at its own place stationary. So what was the momentum? 0. Now also it has to become totally 0. It is flying in such a way, two pieces are flying in perpendicular direction. One you can take as x axis, one you can take as y axis. Now see, one piece has mass what kg? 1 kg. So its momentum you can write 1 into what is its velocity given? 12. So I can take it as 12 y cap. Now take the momentum of the second one. What is the mass of the second one? You can see it is 2 kg and its velocity is 8. Since they are moving perpendicular, I can take it as j cap. Now comes the third one. Its mass I can take it as m. Its velocity I can take as v. Okay. This velocity magnitude is given as 8. So they are asking the mass. Now what I can do is simply take mv on one side. Take mv on one side and take its magnitude. So what you will do, take this on the other side, 12 y cap and 16 j cap, take this side. What you can see from here is something is common, 4 is common, means here I can take minus 4 common, just see 3 I cap plus 4 j cap, can I write so? But I have to take magnitude here also. Now see, m into what is the magnitude of this velocity of the third one?
40.
V3 is 40 right here. Now take the magnitude here, 4 is 4 only and 3i plus 4j is what? Magnitude is 5. So from here you get the mass. Okay. So 20 by 40, that is 1 by 2 kg. So only concept is total momentum has to be constant. I hope it is clear. Okay. Now let us see the fifth question, what it is saying. Okay, we have again a question based on diagram. In the figure shown, A is moving at 3 meter per second and mass 1 kg, B is of mass 2 kg. A is moving and it rises on B, means it will come in contact. So it comes in contact, there is no loss of kinetic energy, they have said, for the system A plus B due to collision. By the time A reaches the highest point on B, find the work done in joule by A on B. Now it is quite obvious that when A will reach the highest point, say it reaches here, when it reaches here, they are saying that since it is the highest point, vertical component of A will become how much? 0. Why so? Because it is said that it is reaching the highest point, means it cannot rise above. So vertical velocity will become 0. But A and B both are in contact. So just imagine that you are on a bus. So what will be your velocity? Same as that of the bus. So later on, final velocity, if you see A and B, horizontal velocity will be same. So V final will be same for A and B because A is on B still. So horizontal velocity is same, vertical velocity of A becomes how much? 0. So now in such case, again collision, what is constant is linear momentum. Linear momentum of the system in horizontal direction will be constant because horizontally there is no external force. So what we can say, linear momentum along x axis or along horizontal is constant for the system. System means what? A plus B. So write the momentum initially out of A and B. Who had momentum? A had. So mass of A is 1 kg. What velocity it had? 3. And finally A and B are moving together. So 1 plus 2 and final velocity is V final. So what is V final from here? 1 meter per second. So now they are asking find work done by A on B. So now they are asking work done by A on B will be simply equal to change in kinetic energy of B. So what is change in kinetic energy of B? Half mass of B. What is mass of B? 2 kg. Final velocity is V final and initially was B moving, it was at rest. And what is V final? 1. So this will give you the work done by A on B. Clear? So just 2 points. Final velocity vertical will be 0 and horizontally both will have same value. Hope all of you got the solution of this question. So only work done on B is by A, because other than that gravity or normal reaction they will do zero work on B, because B is moving horizontally and all other forces are vertical, so they won't do any work. Only work is done by A on B, so that is equals to change in kinetic energy of B, right? Let's move on to the next question. Okay, we have got the sixth question. What it is saying, let's see. Force acting on a body is given as F is C by K e to the power minus KR, where R is the distance. Then what is the dimensions of C and, okay, dimensions of C, fine. First thing you should always remember, exponents are dimensionless, means this whole term, this will be dimensionless. So this means C by K will have the same dimension as F. So that means C will have the dimension of force into K. Now how to find K? Exponents are always dimensionless, so every part of the exponent will be dimensionless, means KR also will be dimensionless. So when the product of two things are dimensionless, means their dimensions are reciprocal of each other. So R is what? Distance, that is length, so K will be how much? L to the power minus 1. So they are asking for C. C is what I said there, you can see, force into K. What is force? ml T minus 2 and L minus 1. So it will become m L to the power 0 T to the power minus 2. That's it. Clear to everyone? Okay. Next comes seventh question. There is a rectangular metal plate in cavities are given and they are asking on heating which will increase. So there is nothing to explain. I have told you, when you have isotropic plates, not mentioned means isotropic, everywhere the material is same. So it is just like the thermal expansion is just like photographic enlargement. That means the distance between any 2 points will increase. So all the terms whichever are given will keep on increasing only, either it be the area of cavity, area of the hole, any size, any distance will keep on increasing. So just like you enlarge a photograph, all points will, the separation between them will increase. So let's check what option they have given. 3 options are visible. Let's quickly check the, okay, all of the above. So we can say that it is all of the above, right? So nothing to worry about that. Let's come to visibly tough question, but let's see whether it is tough or not. So they are saying for shown situation in steady state, ratio of charge stored in the first and last nth capacitor, fine. Now you can see all are in parallel. If all are in parallel, what is the potential difference across each of them? It is E only. So what is the charge ratio on C and which one? NC. Charge we know is CV. So C into what is V? E. Here what is the capacitance? NC. So what is the charge ratio? 1:n. That's it. So this was for the 8th one. Clear? Okay. Now 9th. We have a galvanometer whose resistance is 50 ohm connected to a battery of 3 volt along with a resistance of this in series. A full scale deflection of 30 divisions is obtained in the galvanometer. So you should know that the current is directly proportional to the number of divisions. Okay, current is proportional. As much the current, that much deflection of, or that many division deflection will be observed. So deflection is directly proportional to the current passing through the galvanometer, Ig. This concept should be remembered. Now what they are saying, Ig initial Ig final is equals to, can we see the value? Earlier it was giving 30 divisions deflection and later it is reducing to 20. So you can directly write this as 30 by 20. But how to find Ig? They are saying 3 volt battery. So current is voltage divided by resistance. So 3 volt divided by what is the total resistance? Galvanometer resistance 50, and how much you have connected in series? 2950. So this is Ig. And later on battery is same, 3 volt divided by total resistance. Galvanometer resistance is how much? 50, plus they are asking what resistance should be connected in series. Let's take it as Rs. That's it. So we have a simple equation 3 by 2 which you can solve as 50 plus Rs by 2950 plus 50 is 3000. You can get the value of Rs from here. Clear? So deflection in directly proportional to Ig, and Ig is battery voltage divided by total resistance. Clear to all of you? Okay. So moving on to next. So it is advisable that increase your speed of writing, everyone, because we have lot of questions to discuss. Okay. LCR circuit with 100 ohm resistance is connected to AC source of 400 volt and angular frequency 300. Okay. The values that they have mentioned, according to that we have omega known and voltage. Whichever voltage is given is the RMS voltage. So RMS voltage of the circuit, I am writing V means RMS. What is the value given? 400 volt. Fine. When only capacitance is removed, the current lags behind the voltage by 60 degree. So you should know when capacitor is removed, what we have is VL and VR. So where current is always in phase with VR, and this is V which we write as IZ. So here they have said this phi, let's call it as phi 1. So phi 1 is given as how much? 60 degree. Now you should simply remember tan phi is XL by R. Okay. So phi 1 is 60, this value becomes root 3. So XL will be equal to root 3R. Now in second case, when the inductance is removed, when you remove inductance, what will be left is capacitance. Now here you have what? VR, here you have VC. In this case, you can see that voltage will lag. This angle phi 2, this is also given as 60. Again formula, tan phi is always x by r, remember this, xc by r. This is also 60, so xc will be equal to root 3r. So that means when you are using LCR, can you see XL and XC both are equal? So XL and XC both are equal is how much? Root 3r. This is nothing but condition of resonance. Now when it is resonance, then you should know phi is equals to 0, Z is equals to R. So now what they are asking from here, current. Current is equals to V by Z is simply V by R. What is the resistance given in the circuit? Have they given? See, 100 ohm. And what is V given as? 400. So how much it will become? 4 ampere. And what is the formula for average power? Average power is VI cos phi. Phi is 0, cos phi is 1, V is 400 and I is 4. So how much it will come? 1600 watt. So only thing, if you remember this one, that tan phi is x by r, then you can directly see that in both case x by r is root 3. So that means XC and XL are equal. So in LCR circuit, when you are writing XL and XC both are equal, means what condition? Resonance. Clear to all of you? Next we have question number 11. Okay, let's see question number 11 what they are saying. A small block of mass m having, okay, spring is there, it has charge, there is magnetic field also. Now what you can see is if m is slightly pushed and released, the time period of oscillation will be. First of all, you should not forget that time period of oscillation in spring block system is independent of conservative forces, constant conservative force. So the correct answer should be 2 pi under root m by k only, no change. Directly you can say so. How you can also justify your saying is that suppose you push it down by x, then which one will be the restoring force? Restoring force is the spring force, which is kx. Now let's see the magnetic force. Suppose at a particular instant when it is pulled moving down, it has a velocity v. So where will be the magnetic force? Magnetic force is q v cross b. So let's see q v cross b. V cross b, where is the force acting? Like this. What is its role? Normal reaction and QVB, they are simply balancing mg cos theta. They are not providing any restoring force. Which one is the restoring force? Kx, that is spring force. So time period will be 2 pi under root m by k. There won't be any effect of magnetic field over here. Understood? Let's see next question, 12th one, what they are saying over here. Okay, a photon is incident upon a hydrogen atom and ejects an electron with a kinetic energy 10.7 electron volt. So basically the change in energy of the electron, where it comes from? It is coming from the photon. Now the energy of the photon, what is the photon doing? It is taking out the electron from the hydrogen atom. So and it is getting a kinetic energy of how much? 10.7 electron volt. So we can say this is equal to final kinetic energy of the electron minus initial energy of the electron. Now what is initial energy of the electron? Initially the electron is said to be in the first excited state. In first excited state, the energy of electron in an hydrogen atom, you should know, first excited state means n equals to 2. N equals to 2 means minus 13.6 by 2 square eV, which is how much? Minus 3.4 eV. And what is the energy of the photon? They are asking what the value will be. How much is the final energy of the electron? They have given final energy is 10.7 eV. So what will happen? 10.7 and minus plus 3.4. That means it will become how much? 14.1 eV. Clear? So the energy it is getting from the photon, it is extracting it out and giving it a final kinetic energy of 10.7. So this is the required energy of photon. Okay. Now comes question number 13. A small sphere of mass 1 kg is moving with a velocity of 6i plus j meter per second. It hits a fixed smooth wall and rebounds with a velocity 4i. I would suggest kindly make a small correction over here. If it is moving at 6i, if it is rebounding, it cannot be 4i, it should be minus 4i. The direction will change. Please make this correction. It is minus 4i. Okay. Now you should not forget one thing, that the momentum change will occur perpendicular to the wall. Along the wall, because it is smooth wall, so there will be no change along the wall. Can you see which velocity is not changing? Which component is not changing? J component. Since J component is not changing, that means it is along the wall. So we can say wall is along which axis? Y axis. Why? Because along the wall its velocity is not changing. Now you have a very simple concept. See, this ball was coming with what velocity? Static wall. What velocity is coming horizontally? 6i cap means 6 meter per second, and it is rebounding by minus 4 means like this, you can say 4 meter per second. Will you say? And do you know if this is u, then this v we know is E times U. From a static surface, V is E times U. So what is the value of E? 4 by 6, that is 2 by 3. So this is a fixed wall, no momentum change along the wall, and this wall we are taking as y axis, this direction we are taking as x axis. Clear to everyone? Okay. So shall we proceed with the next question? Let's see next. Okay, here we have again a diagrammatic question. Light is incident on a glass block as shown. If theta 1 is increased slightly, then what happens to theta 2? Fine. Here first of all it will bend towards the normal. This is R1, R2 is R1. Now by Snell's law we know that if I is more, then R will be more, because mu1 sin I is equals to mu2 sin R. So if I increases, sin I will increase, so there R will also increase. So if they are saying that theta 1 is increased slightly, then what happens to theta 2? So if theta 1 is increased, then by Snell's law R1 will also increase, because both are sine functions. Sine of angle increases with angle. More the angle, more the value of sine. So theta 1 increases, R1 will also keep on increasing. So what is R2? 90 minus R1. So if R1 will increase, then this value will become smaller. So this means R2 will. Now again by Snell's law, if R2 will decrease, then theta 2 will also decrease. Clear? Okay. So this was question number 14, and now we can neglect the chance of this critical angle, because they have said that theta 1 is increased slightly. So if you would have increased by a large amount, then there would be chances of say getting critical angle or whatsoever, right? But here also you can say that critical angle chance would not be present, reason being that for critical angle this R2 should be large, but if you are increasing theta 1, then R2 is decreasing, so there won't be chance of internal reflections, right? So now come to 15th question. 15th and 16th we'll try to tackle both of them together. Okay, let's see. What is 15th? Current is given, they are asking charge flown. So what is the formula for charge? Charge is simply integration of I with respect to time, from which to which? 0 to 1 second. What is current given as? 1 plus 3t square. The integration of 1 with respect to t will be t only, and 3t square will become 3t cube by 3, and put the limit from 0 to 1. You will get the answer. Clear? So this is question number 15. Let's move quickly to 16. Angle of polarization. As soon as we hear, we know of a law called Brewster's law, Brewster's angle. Angle of polarization is the other name for Brewster's angle. For medium is given as 60 degree. So we have studied tan IP if we consider the rarer medium as air and the denser medium as mu. So tan IP is equals to mu. But what they are asking is critical angle. So critical angle, we know mu is also equals to 1 by sin theta c. That's it. What is IP given as? 60 degree. So sin theta c will be 1 by root 3. So theta c will be sin inverse 1 by root 3. Tan 60 is root 3. So sin theta c will be 1 by root 3. Clear? Okay, so 17th also we can see in this page only. What we have? 3 SHMs. All the 3 SHMs are along which axis? X axis. So So when you have superposition of SHMs along same direction, it is just like vector addition. Phasor addition or phasor addition of amplitudes is just like vector addition. So this one has how much phase constant? First one, it has 0. Second one, 53. Third one is cos omega t, but we have minus 10. Now we know cos omega t can be written as sin omega t plus 90 degree. But here we have minus, so we can write it as 10 sin omega t minus 90 degree. So in phasor addition, what we do, just see. First one has phase constant how much? 0, means you can take it horizontal. What is the magnitude of its amplitude? A1 is 5 and phase angle is 0. So I am writing here phi equals to 0. Next one, 53 degree plus. Plus means anti-clockwise angle. Anti-clockwise angle positive, clockwise angle negative. So 53 degree. What is its amplitude? 5 again. What is the angle? 53. Anti-clockwise lead, clockwise lag. Third one is 10, but minus 90. From 0, 90 degree minus means below. Magnitude. Now just see the vector addition. Vector addition, this is already horizontal. This 5 will have two components. This is 5 sin 53. Sin 53 is 4 by 5, so it will become 4. And this one will become 5 cos 53, that means 3. Okay. So this figure can be redrawn as horizontally how much you have? 5 and 3? 8. Vertically 10 below, up how much? 4. 10 minus 4? 6. So the resultant amplitude vector addition. So this is A net will be under root of 8 square plus 6 square. What is that? 10. So second option. Understood? Yes. Just like vector addition, you will add the amplitudes. Is it clear?
Yes.
Completed? Okay. Okay, now we have next 18th question. What is 18th question saying? A body of mass m is kept on a rough inclined plane. Okay, as we hear the word rough, we consider the question to be very tough, but it's not so. Why? Because it's not that rough is always tough. See how body is kept on inclined plane, but it is stationary. Stationary means net force is 0. Magnitude of force acting on the body by the inclined plane. So inclined plane will exert force, which is the net reaction force, and which other force is acting on the body? It will be gravity. So we will just say that the net force, since it is an equilibrium, net force should be 0. So what is the net force? Net force is gravity, which is mg, and force by the incline. This force by the incline, this only we call as the net reaction force, R. So mg plus R is 0. So they are asking what is the magnitude of R? Mg. So what will be the answer? Okay. So think in this way, one person is pulling you by 10 Newton and another person is exerting a force F on you, and you are not moving from your place. So what is F? F is equals to 10 only, and opposite to 10, right? So one force is mg, another force is force by the incline. Their resultant should be 0. So the magnitude of force by incline should also be mg only. Clear? So this was question number 18. Okay. Now next 19th question. What they are saying, we have a 1 microfarad capacitor and it is connected in the circuit. EMF is given 3 volt, everything is known. Okay, they are saying charge on the capacitor in steady state. When we have steady state means there will be no current in this part. It will behave like a open circuit. So if I mark this point as AB, so in this branch current I1 will become how much? 0. That means whatever current is coming by the battery will flow here only. Understood? Now this cell has an EMF and internal resistance also. How much? 0.5 ohm. So first of all quickly find I. Why I am finding I, you will understand. I is equals to, it is flowing in the upper part only. What is the total EMF? 3. Total resistance of the circuit, upper part. This one is not having any current. 0.5 plus R2. What is R2 given as? 1 ohm. So this one will become 2 ampere. Now they are asking charge on the capacitor. Clear? Charge on the capacitor, can I write C into voltage across the capacitor? Now C is how much? 1 microfarad. And voltage across the capacitor, if you see, since no current is flowing here, so the total voltage between A and B is the voltage across capacitor. So voltage across capacitor is simply how much? VAB. But can you see from A to B one more path is there? So VAB is nothing but I into R2. What is I? I is 2. What is R2? 1 and 1 microfarad. So the answer will be 2 microcoulomb. That's it. Clear? So whichever branch contains capacitor in steady state, no current will flow through that branch. Okay. So after this basic but very important information, we move to the next question, 20th question. Now which type of circuit is this? LR circuit. In this they are saying that switch is closed at time t equals to 0 if EMF denotes, E denotes the induced EMF across inductor and I is the current. Then which one of the following will show the variation of E with I? Fine. Now can you see that this EMF is E at any time t equals to t, suppose current flows. So here this voltage will be how much? And the sum of these two will be equal to capital E. So what is small e? Small e is nothing but capital E minus IR. So they are asking the graph, it is a straight line graph. That's it. When I will increase, small e will decrease. So when small I initially at t equals to 0, there was no current, so E will be equal to capital I, and when steady state attains, at that case what will happen? E will become 0. So this current will become E by small r. So straight line graph. Clear? So the sum of two EMFs is equals to, sum of two voltages equals to E. So one voltage will become capital E minus IR. So this is the variation. Okay. Now moving to the next question, 21st. We have been discussing this type of questions earlier also, and in class also we had discussed question. They are saying which of the following reaction E is positive. E is the energy released. So I have told you, please remember, energy positive, that is released energy. That means it is a exoenergic reaction. Exoenergic reaction, this means sum of binding energy of the products should be greater than binding energy of the reactants. So this is your job to check. 4 options are given in which binding energy of products is more than binding energy of reactants. Now how to find binding energy? Binding energy of any particular reactant or any particular product is, they have given binding energy per nucleon. EB is binding energy per nucleon. That value multiplied by mass number. Mass number is given as M. So for each one, for example, just to say that you can mark these values like this, like you can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on, and this is value. Now you can see this value is 1 and this value is 1. 1 into 1 is 1. So for all A, B, C, D and E you can find BE. Then check out of the given reactions in which of the 4 reactions is the product having more binding energy than the reactants. That will be having exoenergic reaction, means E should be greater than 0. So question number 21, this concept is to be followed. Okay. Now come to, I hope it is clear. Okay. 22. 22 they are saying which one is the correct waveform of the output for A and B, right? Now how we will solve this? Fine. First this is A, this is B, this is NOT gate A bar, this will be B bar. Now you can see this is NOR gate. NOR gate means first you will add A bar plus B bar and NOR means double bar. Now we have studied something called De Morgan's law. A plus B whole bar is equals to A bar B bar. De Morgan's law says A plus B whole bar is equals to A bar B bar, but here you have A bar plus B bar whole bar, so you can write it as A double bar into B double bar by De Morgan's law. But A double bar is nothing but A only and B double bar is B. So it becomes how much? AB. AB means what operation? AND operation. And what is AND operation? High output when both are high. So whenever A and B are 1, output should be 1, and in all the other cases it should be 0. So you can check which one is satisfying this. Understood? Like, just like for an example, this you can see is A high, B high, and here in one high. So this is correct. Here low, low, this is correct. Here also low, here is high, it should be low. Both are high. Now see in other case when both are high, this is high, this is high, this is also high. In rest of the cases it is low. So in this way we check. AND operation, high output when both are high. Okay. Next, the ratio of maximum and minimum intensities are given and the ratio of their amplitudes is okay. So maximum and minimum intensities are given, that means I max upon I min root I1 plus root I2 root I1 root I2 whole square. Now root I1 can be written as A1, root I2 as A2. So I max by I min is given as how much? 4 by 1. So from here you can solve and find the value. Okay. 23 is done. Next, 24. A straight section PQ of circuit lies along the x axis from x equals to minus a by 2 to x equals to plus a by 2. You have a wire section PQ and this is x equals to minus a by 2 and here x equals to plus a by 2. And it is carrying a current also. Okay, let's take the current suppose like this. Now here there will be origin in between. Now they are saying magnetic field due to the section PQ at a point x equals to plus a. If I see the point x equals to plus a will be here. Okay, so x equals to plus a. What is the field? Answer will be 0. Reason being field direction is found by dl cross r. Now you see at this point, this is r vector and dl vector. dl vector is taken along current and r vector is taken towards the point. Suppose I take this point as a. So dl and r both are in the same direction. So at the point a, dl cross r will be equal to 0. So magnetic field at A will also be equal to 0. Okay. Next, 25th, what they are saying, we have three concentric spherical shells having uniformly distributed charges q, minus q, q and q. Now they are asking potential at the center. Well, potential at the center, so it is internal point for all. At internal point, the potential due to a shell is what? Kq by radius of the charge. Kq by radius of the charge. So potential at the center means O. If I take the center, so what will I write this as? K charge on A by radius of A. K charge of B by radius of B. K charge at C by radius of C. And where K is how much? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. All the radii have been given. A, 2A and RC is 3A. Charges are also given. QA is given as plus Q, QB as minus QQ and QC as plus Q. So after a very difficult calculation you will get the answer. Okay. Now after this we will move to the next question. So I hope the previous serious joke was not taken seriously by you all. You can solve that. 26th one is a wheel having moment of inertia 2 kg meter square about its vertical axis rotates at rate of 60 rpm about its axis. Okay, it is rotating, has omega. The torque which will stop the wheel's rotation in 1 minute would be. Now how to find torque which will stop it? So for that what we do? We should remember torque is equals to change in angular momentum per unit time, or what else we can say, since omega initial is how much? 60 rpm. Convert in SI units. 60 rpm, 60 revolutions means 2 pi by 60 radian per second. Got it? Yes. Now omega final, it has to stop 0. So omega final is 0. Have we got the time? Delta t is how much? In 1 minute, 60 seconds. So we can find the angular deceleration. So alpha will be omega final minus omega initial by delta t. So this value we get from here. So angular deceleration is nothing but the magnitude. Whatever you find, you get the angular deceleration. So what is torque they are asking? So the torque providing the angular deceleration will be I alpha. So you will get the answer from here. Okay. So here alpha will come out to be negative. Negative sign shows that it is decelerating. So the magnitude of angular deceleration will be mod alpha multiplied by moment of inertia. You get the torque. Right. Now 27th also we can quickly discuss here without knowing the answer, which is given below. Let's keep that for as a suspense for some time. Current I through 10 ohm resistor. 10 ohm resistor, what will be the current? Can you see two diodes here and see the polarity? Just see the sense of sending current. So it will try to send the current like this. So this is P and this is N. It is sending current in same sense. So this will become forward biased, and this is opposing the sense. It will become reverse biased. So no current in this part. Entire current will flow in the upper only. So what is the current here? I is equals to total voltage 2 volt divided by what is the resistance? 10 ohm plus 15. So this much amperes. The diode resistance is not given, means we can assume it to be a ideal diode having zero resistance. This is the current. Clear? Now coming to next question. What is the next question saying? EMF of 2 volt is produced in a coil when the current changed at a steady rate from 3 to 2 amperes in 1 millisecond. Now you should know they are asking self inductance. You should remember, if we write E induced at time t equals to t, then we write the formula E induced is minus L di by dt. This is instantaneous EMF, but they have given in 1 millisecond interval. In interval delta t, you will find the average induced EMF. So this formula will become how much? Minus L delta I by delta t. So you should be clear with these 2 points. Which one we will apply over here? It is not changing instantly, it is changing in an interval of 1 millisecond. So this one. So just put what is the induced EMF given as 2 volt. This is equals to minus L is asked in the question. Delta I change 3 to 2 means 2 minus 3, and time is 1 millisecond means minus 3. So you can get L from here. Clear? Okay. So this was the concept to be used. We'll now move fast to other questions. Okay, 29th question. There is a track and there is a body coming down. Minimum value of R for the body to successfully complete the loop. Well, when it comes from here, its initial velocity is 0. When it comes here, its velocity at the point B, by what height it has fallen? H. So its velocity will become how much? Root 2 GH. But to complete the loop, you have studied this condition, just like a string, bob connected to string. To complete the circle, this value should be greater than equal to, what is the condition? Root 5 GR. So at the bottommost point, the speed should be greater than or equal to root 5 GR, then only you will complete the circle. Just like in string, it is root 5 GL. Here it will be root 5 GR. So what is the condition we get? H should be, if you remove the root from both sides, H should be greater than equal to 5R by 2. So they are asking for R, H is known, so you can find R from here. Okay. So simple condition, root 2 GH should be greater than equal to root 5 GR. Done? Okay. Next is 3 thin rods, each of length L and mass M. Fine. They are along x, y and z axis. Which axis they are asking the moment of inertia about? Z axis. So can you see that this rod is already lying on z axis? So its moment of inertia is 0. So I3 is 0 and I2 and I1, both of them, z axis is their end axis. End axis moment of inertia is ml square by 3. So ml square by 3 plus ml square by 3 plus 0, that will be the answer. So what is the answer? 2 ml square by 3 about z axis. Clear? So 2 rods end axis, 1 0. Okay. Comes the next one, 31. Ideal diatomic gas is heated at constant pressure. The fraction of heat energy supplied which increases the internal energy. Means they are asking fraction. Fractions mean change in internal energy divided by total heat supplied at what value? Constant pressure. This fraction they are asking. Delta U formula is NCV delta T. Delta Q at constant pressure will be NCP delta T. But we know Cp by Cv is gamma. So Cv by Cp will be 1 by gamma. What type of gas is this? Diatomic. Diatomic gas gamma is 7 by 5. So this one will become how much? 5 by 7. Fourth option. Clear? Next, 32 32, 33, we'll try to cover this also quickly. 32 ideal gas of 2 mole is taken through a series of process, cyclic process. They are asking amount of work involved in cycle. Whenever you have PV cycle, work done is area inside the cycle. So work done is equals to area inside the cycle, and since the cycle is clockwise, so positive. So positive work done. Positive work done. So what is the area? Half base into height. This base 3V1 minus V1. 2V1, can you see this? And what is this? 4P1 minus P1? 3P1. So this one becomes how much? 3P1 V1. Now they have given the temperature at C is T0. So do we know PV equals to nRT? So P1 into V1 is equals to nR, temperature is T0. How many moles? 2. N is 2. So P1 V1 is 2R T0. So this one will become 6 R T0. Clear? 33. 33, I will not be writing anything, just this is an information which we have already seen earlier. Long cylindrical tube in water level is adjusted and air column above it is made to vibrate. These all words simply shows that it is resonance column, and in resonance column they are asking maximum sound. Maximum sound means resonance. Resonance is observed, I said, observed at lengths in odd number ratio, that is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 and so on. And first one fundamental is observed for lambda by 4. Second one will be 3 lambda by 4, next one will be 5 lambda by 4, 7 lambda by 4 and so on. So what will be the correct answer? Option 4. So successive resonances are observed at odd number ratio 1, 3, 5, 7 and so on, and fundamental is observed at what length? Lambda by 4. Okay, still I am breaking my words. I told I will not use pen, but still I am using just to show you in case you have forgotten. Lambda by 4, first length. We take the length of air column, not of water. Clear? Now 34. Consider a U-shape frame. Okay, there is a U-shape frame. What next? Length, mass, everything is given. Means here you have mg. Here you have mg, and above you have force due to surface tension. Now there are films. So film has two surfaces, front and back. So each one will pull it. So what will be the total force? 2SL, SL, SL, 2SL upwards, mg is downwards. What they are saying, it is dipped. Choose minimum value of m so that the wire does not descend. Descend means it should not come down. They are not saying equilibrium, mind it. Don't say 2SL is equals to mg. So you may think that 2SL is mg, so they are asking m. So m will be how much? 2SL by g. But they are asking find the minimum value so that it does not descend, means it can go up also. So that means to not descend, 2SL should be to not descend. So m should be less than or equal to 2SL by g. So it should be either equal to or less. They are not asking. So here you have the maximum value is how much? 2SL by g. Are they asking you the maximum value? So I have to select which value is less than this and the least one. SL by g is also less. SL by 2g is also less. So out of all these options, which one? So all the values which are less than this will be possible. So they are asking the minimum. Choose the minimum of this. So this will be the answer. Okay, so this question is a bit tricky. Remember this. If they would have said maximum, then this would be the case. Clear?
Yes.
Okay. Next, a hollow cubical box is moving on a horizontal surface. Inside you have a block 2 kg is at rest. 2 kg is at rest means some force is making it move along. Which is that force? Friction. And what friction is it? Static friction. Because of static friction it is also moving along with the box. So they are asking calculate the force of friction. So what is the force of friction? Force of friction is nothing but the static friction, and static friction is only providing it acceleration. So what is the mass given? 2 kg, and acceleration is 3i cap plus 4j cap. So this becomes 6i plus 8j cap Newton. So 6 and 8 y axis x axis. So friction is 10 Newton, and this value theta 8 by 6 53 10. Acha, with y direction they are asking, so this angle will be 37. Fourth option. Understood? So this static friction is making it move. Clear? Okay, 36. So 36 question, what they are saying? 36 question, incompressible liquid flows through tube, then the velocity of the fluid is. Well, equation of continuity, whatever volume rate is coming from here, that is going here. So volume rate, what is the volume rate here? A V1. What is the volume rate here? A V2, and this is 1.5 AV. So what we will say by equation of continuity, A V1 is equals to A V2 plus 1.5 AV. They have given the value, V1 is 3, V2 is 1.5. They are asking for, you can calculate from here. Clear? Yes, sir. So equation of continuity, this gives us the value. Completed? Next, 37. Let's see quickly. 37, stress versus strain graph is given. They are asking Young's modulus ratio. Well, stress by strain is only Young's modulus. So y is stress by strain, that is slope, and slope is nothing but tan theta. So YA by YB is equals to tan 60 by tan 30. So you get the ratio. Clear? So stress by strain curve, this will give you, the slope will give you tan theta, that is Y. Done? Okay. Next is, a spherical shell has a mass m and radius r. A point mass m by 2 kept inside the shell at a distance r by 2 from the center. Then force of attraction on the mass is, it is a spherical shell. Inside the shell, what is the field? Field is 0. So the force will also become 0. Direct answer is 0. So Fg is equals to mass, which is given m by 2 into Eg. And Eg is how much? 0 inside the shell. Clear? Done? Yes. Okay. Next comes electric field intensity is given. They are asking how the nature of equipotential lines in xy plane will be. Always remember, equipotentials are perpendicular to electric field, or electric field is always perpendicular to equipotential surface. Just see E vector given. E vector is given as what? Root 3i minus j, means x positive, y negative. So if I take this as x axis and this as y axis, so how the field lines will look? x positive, y negative, means this is the field line E vector. So if this denotes E vector, x positive, y negative, this side you have √3, this side you have 1. So this angle will become how much? If it makes theta angle, so tan theta is y component by x component, so theta is how much? 30 degree. Now if this is electric field, so I said equipotentials are always perpendicular. So equipotentials will be perpendicular to this, draw perpendicular. So these are the equipotentials, they are always perpendicular. Okay, so what will equipotential make? This theta is 30, so this one will become 60. And we also know that electric field vector always points from higher potential to lower potential. So this means higher potential, this one lower potential. So the equipotential should always come from, means higher to lower potential along field. And what angle it is making with x axis? 60 degree. Which option we are seeing? Higher to lower, third option. Okay, clear? So field is always perpendicular to equipotential surface and field is always directed from higher potential to lower potential. Okay, finish the questions, remaining questions fast. Question number 40, what they are saying? Thin prism is placed in air and water. Ng is 3/2, Nw is 4/3. Ratio of deviation produced by prism. Well, we know for thin prism, delta we write as mu minus 1 into A. Always remember that this mu is mu of the material of prism with respect to the medium outside. Generally we take outside medium as air, so we write mu, otherwise it is always with respect to medium outside. Means what is the exact formula for delta? Mu of, suppose it is made of glass, divided by mu of medium minus 1 into A. So now they are asking the ratio of deviation in two cases. In first you have placed where? When placed in air. When you are placing in air, it will be directly mu g minus 1, A will cancel. When you are placing in water, mu g by minus 1. I am writing here A, but this A will cancel. Mu g is given as 3/2 and mu water is 4/3. You will get the value. Clear? So this is the ratio of deviation. Talking about 41, distance of nth bright fringe to n plus 1th dark fringe. So if you remember, distance required nth bright minus n plus 1th dark. So nth bright fringe height from the central maxima is n beta and nth dark fringe is 2n minus 1 beta by 2, 2n minus 1 beta by 2, but not n. Which one? So 2 minus 1 beta by 2. So just see what will happen here. N beta minus 2n by 2 minus 2n by 2, 2 cancels, n beta, n beta, n beta cancels. Then you have what? 2n minus, 2 minus 1 is how much? 1. So this gap will be how much? Beta by 2. And beta is what? D lambda by D? D lambda by 2D. So this value should come. So basically we are taking the difference. It can be higher or lower, whichever. So the difference will come out as beta by 2, D lambda by 2D, means third option. So either this value can be higher or this value can be higher. We are taking the difference. It can come out as positive or negative. It depends on whether this one is above or this one is below this dark fringe. Clear? 41 also done. Now 42. If the potential difference across the Coolidge tube is increased, then what will happen? Wavelength of K alpha, K beta, okay. So you should remember that potential difference affects in Coolidge tube, potential difference affects only the continuous X-rays. Characteristic K alpha, K beta are characteristic X-rays. Their wavelength does not depend on the potential difference applied. Okay. So independent of the potential difference applied. So what will happen here? K alpha, K beta difference, that won't be affected. So the answer should be none of the above. So potential difference will affect only lambda mean, which the lambda mean value. Okay. So remember, potential difference will affect what? Lambda mean, which is also called as the stopping radiation. So okay, next question is fraction 43. A fraction F1 of radioactive sample decays in 1 mean life and fraction F2 decays in 1 half life. Okay, come to question number 43. Question 43. Fraction F1 of a radioactive sample decays in 1 mean life and in 1 half life. In half life, decay is how much? 50%. Okay, and in T average, we know NT becomes N naught by E. N naught by E means approximately 37% of N naught. So 37% remains. So how many have? Therefore, decayed is how much? 63%. So in average life, how much decays? 63%. And in half life, how much decays? 50%. So they are saying fraction F1 decays in 1 mean life. So F1 is 0.63 and F2 is the fraction that has decayed in 1 half life. 50% means 0.5. Which value is more? F1, 0.63. Clear? Now come to the next one. The rate of radiation, question number 44. Rate of radiation of a black body at 0 degree Celsius is E watt. Then the rate of radiation at 273. We have studied rate of radiation is directly proportional to T to the power 4. So from here we can write 273 they are asking. E at 273 by E at 0. This will be equal to 273 degrees Celsius means how much? 546 Kelvin divided by 0 degree Celsius means, so this becomes how much? 2 to the power 4. Okay. So E0 has been given as first you have to convert in Kelvin and E0 is given as E. So they are asking E at 273, this will become 16 times. Clear? Last question we have. Okay. The last question, high impedance AC voltmeter is connected to turn across the inductor, capacitor and resistance in a series circuit. Remember, in AC you measure only the RMS voltages and RMS currents. So these are RMS values. They have given also, if resistor all are giving what voltage? 100. Means VL, VC, VR. In LCR when you are measuring, they are saying that all the three are having how much? RMS source and gives reading same in all case. VR and even the source voltage V all are given as 100. So since VL and VC, can you see these two are equal? So therefore resonance. So what they are asking? The reading is, so resonance, these two will cancel, so reading will be 100 only. Okay, so this reading will be 100 volt. Okay, so here we completed this paper. Okay, thank you.